Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Main, and I am the director at Mustard Seed Preschool. And we know that it can be tricky to get to a preschool open house. So we were hoping to share a little bit of information about our program with you virtually so you can see if it's a good fit for your family. If at any time you'd like to schedule a tour to come in and see our program, you are more than welcome to give our office a call and set up a time to come in and see Mustard Seed for yourself. All right, so starting off with teacher credentials, this is something that is very important to everyone in our building. All of our lead teachers have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in early childhood education or a similar field. It is very important to us that all of the teachers that come through this building are educated to be teachers, and this is not just a stop along the way for them, but an actual career choice. All of our assistants have a minimum of an associate's in early childhood education or a CDA, but right now, actually, everyone on our staff has a bachelor's or master's degree. We do, from time to time, have interns or student teachers as a part of our program as well from PCC or Pacific University. And we love that our master teachers in the building have an opportunity to share their wealth of knowledge with incoming teacher students. So you might see them around as well. And all of our staff does 15 continuing education units per year just to keep up on current best practice and what's happening in the field. They are all also first aid CPR certified, have their food handler's license, do training in child abuse and neglect, child health and safety, Oregon Early Learning Standards, and they are all DHS certified as well. All right, so what do the classroom configurations look like at Mustard Seed? We have 3 different classrooms to choose from. Our preschool classrooms are our 3 and 4-year-olds. Those are usually the first experience a child has in preschool if they don't do our pre-threes program. There's 2 teachers in there, a lead and an assistant with 16 students. And the primary focus of that classroom is social emotional learning, although we do have thematic-based curriculum in that class. It will all take the lens of social emotional growth. And then this class is only offered in the mornings. And then our pre-K class is the year before they go to kindergarten. So this is primarily 4 and 5-year-olds, and no student enters this class until the year before they go to kindergarten. So it is okay for a student to do preschool more than 1 year until they reach that age group where we know they will be 5 by September 1st, the following school year. We do bump up the ratio a little bit just because in Oregon, the elementary school ratio is 30-1 is the max that a teacher can have in the classroom. So we do want to, in an age appropriate way, get students used to navigating a classroom with more children in it. So we do still have 2 teachers in that class, 1 lead, 1 assistant, or 2 co-teachers with 20 students. And their primary focus is kindergarten readiness. We are still focusing on social emotional skills and building on the skills they used in preschool and primarily getting them to facilitate those skills independently. And then adding in the letter of the week, adding in counting and patterning every day on the calendar. So we're really trying to get some of those kindergarten readiness skills in there. They do journals in the morning, just a little bit of a leg up from what we're doing in our preschool classrooms. And again, this is just 4 and 5-year-olds the year before they go to kindergarten. And then we also have kind of an extension of our program called Pre-3s. This is for our students who won't be 3 by October 1st, so they're not eligible for our preschool classrooms, but they want to start getting into those preschool spaces and prepping for that. It is 1 teacher and 1 parent helper, so all parents agree to volunteer throughout the school year with 10 students. And this focus is primarily on becoming comfortable with and without your child and your parent together in the classroom. Being dropped off, being alone is a big thing for 2-year-olds and new 3-year-olds. So we want to help them with that to the best of our ability. They do have to be 2 by September 1st to join the classroom, but you do have to remain on site until your student turns 3. So we do have waiting areas. We have a conference room where a lot of parents like to work, or a parent waiting area with booths and tables and coffee and snacks down by our pre-3s classroom for parents that need to stay. And while our other classes run 9 to noon, this classroom, the first half of the year runs 9 to 10, so it's just an hour. And then starting in January, we bump it up a half hour and we add a transition to the playground and playing outside. So it becomes 9 to 10:30. And again, it's just that time for students to get used to being with or without their parents at school and feeling comfortable with or without them in the classroom, practicing dropping off, and practicing kind of a miniaturized version of what we do in our other spaces. We do have a few extended program offerings throughout the week. So we have what we call our Kindergarten Readiness Extended Day. It's open to any student who's enrolled in the morning class. And it allows them to stay on site until 2 o'clock. So you would drop them off at 9 and pick them up at 2. There are 2 teachers, 1 lead and 1 assistant with 10 students. So it's a smaller ratio. And the primary focus is on kindergarten readiness and that social communication piece between peers in the classroom. And it's from 12 to 2. So your students would bring a lunch and a snack. And so they would attend their morning class, have a snack in their morning class, then they would go to our cafeteria where they would have lunch all together, and then they would join their afternoon classroom from 12 to 2. And we are a fully inclusive program. We always want to let parents know that. So there is a 5 typically developing students and 5 neurodiverse students in every kindergarten readiness extended day space. If this is something that you want to register for, the registration form is through our early intervention link on our website. It is a separate form from our morning class, but the students would be able to stay all day without being picked up. And then our Friday enrichment extends our program offerings to 5 days a week. Our preschool and pre-K classes only run Monday through Thursday, but you can add an optional Friday with a lead teacher and 10 students where they work on project-based long-form learning. So each month they learn about a different country. And each week they learn about something, a specific area of that country. So maybe it's the arts, maybe it's the music or the architecture. And each week they're focusing on a different piece of the culture. And then they are slowly over the course of the entire year building their own passport and country as well. So they're collecting passport stamps from each country that they visit. And then they're also talking about what portions of each culture and each country they want to bring into a country that they're building on their own in the classroom. So it can be a pretty fun experience. And that's open to any student who's enrolled in a morning class. They're eligible to enroll in a Friday class. So each classroom has the same basic centers that teachers change out frequently, at least monthly, but often it's every 2 weeks so that nothing in the classroom gets stale, and it's always based on the theme for that month. So these are just some examples of a dramatic play center that's set up to be a doctor's office and a just a typical building center and everything available to the students there. And then we have a math and science center with different grab and go math and science opportunities on the shelves that students can take to a table and continue to explore and expand on. And then a reading center. All of our classrooms do have quiet time lofts with reading on the bottom and a quiet time, usually puzzles or some kind of fine motor quiet activity on the top of the loft. And the idea is that it's a gross motor opportunity in the classroom where all the classrooms learn how to climb the ladder to get to the top of the loft at the beginning of the school year, but it also allows for a quiet or safe space for those friends that need a zone to re-regulate. We have a writing center in every classroom where students will have guidance for our word wall, which is words that have to do with the theme that month. They can practice writing those. They will also have all the students' names in them so that they can practice writing their own names. And then they also have some drawing or tracing opportunities that change out every month. It could be writing letters or making cards for Valentine's Day. It could be writing grocery lists during November as we talk about Thanksgiving and meal planning. There's all different opportunities and invitations to write. Every classroom will have a sensory bin as well, with different activities in the sensory bin that change out monthly. And then a creation station or art center with a open-ended invitation to create that changes monthly as well in every classroom. These are just some examples of our preschool classroom. So these are the 3 and 4-year-old spaces that we have for our students. Like I said, every classroom is going to have the same basic centers that change out frequently. They're going to have calm down areas or quiet spaces and the general classroom seating area. And then these are some examples of our pre-K classrooms. The more involved circle time areas are seen in these pictures. Just a larger space for the larger number of students as well. And then this is just a quick fly-through video of one of our classrooms to give you an idea and a closer look at all the different centers. So we can watch that now. You can see all of our classrooms will have what we call the safe space, which we will talk about in a little bit with different calm down options, social emotional skill building options, lots of focus on recognizing feelings and emotions in ourselves and in peers can be found in all of our classrooms. This happens to be a pre-K classroom, so their science center, which we just flew through, is a little bit more in depth. As well as their building center has a dollhouse and some different building opportunities and cars. That more in-depth circle time areas we were talking about with the different things they're working on in the classroom. And then we're going to spin around and kind of land on the writing center there, as well as some different science opportunities and our dramatic play, which in this classroom was set up to be a home living or house for the beginning of the year when we focus on family. All right, so outdoor and indoor play, all of our students have a minimum of 30 minutes of gross motor time every single day. If they stay for the afternoon portion of class, they'll have a full hour in their day. We do 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. We do prefer to take the students outside. So we always tell people to dress for the weather because unless it's below freezing and not snowing, because we will play in the snow if it's snowing, or if it is absolutely pouring, we will play inside, but otherwise we will be outside. So please pack weather appropriate clothes, jackets. We do have a trike track outside. You can see a colorful trike track on our playground where the students can ride bikes or play with the Little Tikes cars. We also have a nature-based playscape. So there's logs and boulders for them to climb on throughout the course of the playground. There's areas for them to dig. We have a shed with different opportunities. The students can go choose what they want to play with that day, whether that's Tonka trucks or bubbles or sidewalk chalk. We really let them lead the way, and then we treat it as an outdoor classroom. So whatever they take out, that class will clean up before they go back inside, so that it's ready for the next class. If we can't go outside, we do have an indoor gym space, which is fantastic. The kids can play in the gym if it is raining. There's lots of gross motor opportunities to take out in there. It's also where we do our music, PE, and library in order to kind of model what it will be like in kindergarten and help students transition well into different spaces throughout the building and practice that for kindergarten. We do have library. Storytime Bob visits us from the Cedar Mill Library every Tuesday. And then on Wednesdays, we have music class in the gym. And on Thursdays, we have PE. So students will have that opportunity for about 20 minutes each day as well. All right, we get a lot of questions about what is our guidance or discipline policy. We do prefer to call it our guidance policy, and it's what we like to call red and green choices. We found that this is very effective because it connects to a experience or theme that the children already understand, which is red means stop and green means go. We do a lot of practicing red light, right at the beginning of the year too, to continue to reinforce this. But essentially, the teachers will come together at the beginning of the school year with their class and all the little cards you see in the picture, and they'll let the students decide, do we think this is a red choice or do we think this is a green choice? And the kids can decide what chart they think they want to put it on. Without fail, usually things like yelling or running end up on the green choice chart. Someone tries it, and let's say center time, someone's yelling, and all of our friends cover our ears. The teachers can come back together at closing circle and say, hey, I noticed a friend was yelling and a bunch of our students were covering their ears. Do we still think yelling in the classroom is a green choice? They oftentimes will say, no, we did not enjoy that experience, and they will move it to the red choice chart. So these charts are very fluid. They are essentially a living document that the kids can change throughout the course of the school year. And usually by about October, it looks how we would expect it to look if an adult made it. And we found that this trial and error works very well. It's very real world, like for our students, so that it's not just the teachers telling them a list of rules they need to follow in the classroom, but it's a way for us to say, hey, remember, you guys made the rules for your classroom and you decided you thought it would be safe and what you thought would be good for our community. Can you make a different choice from the green choice chart? And that's very impactful to them. It gives them control over their environment, which, as all of you who have 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds know, control is a huge thing. So we have a lot of success with this guidance policy in the classroom. If we're having trouble, if someone is displaying challenging behaviors or having a hard time with a friend in the classroom, as you guys know, navigating social interactions is a huge part of this age group, then every classroom does have access to problem-solving solutions, and we approach these solutions similarly to our red and green choice chart. So if we notice 2 friends are having a hard time navigating a social interaction, we can say, hey, would you like to come make a problem solving solution choice? And every classroom displays these in a little bit of a different way, but they do all have the exact same problem solving solutions available to their students, so that as they practice this with a teacher facilitating it in preschool, once they get to pre-K, the teachers can encourage students to go and make a choice independently with each other. Say, hey, why don't you guys go together and choose a problem solving solution, and kind of watch them facilitate that independently and continue to raise the skill level that we're looking for from our students. So let's say they're having a hard time sharing a toy, and the student who wants the toy decides they want to try and trade. Great. Teachers will help them find an item to trade and go find the friend and ask them for a trade. It's okay for someone to say, no, thank you, I don't want to trade, which can be a really hard skill to learn. But we encourage students to go back to the problem solving solution chart, make a different choice, and see if that one works. Just like in the real world, we don't always find the right solution on the first try. So we encourage them to try multiple times. Maybe they need to make a wait list and make a list of whose turn it is next. Maybe we need to set a timer, and when the timer is up, then the friends can trade. There's lots of different options we can try to make sure that we have a social emotionally safe classroom, which is the goal here at MSP. We also offer lots of different calm down choices. So in every classroom safe space, if a friend is having a hard time calming down, or maybe they're feeling sad because mom and dad just dropped them off and that's a new experience for them, we have visuals for calm down options, so they can point to what they would like help with. They could tell us if they have the words to do that in that moment. And then all of our calm down choice visuals match our calm down kits in the classroom. So everyone will be able to choose something they want to try and then get a facilitating item out of the bin if it has one. Sometimes they just want deep breaths, and that's okay. Maybe we take deep breaths with a breathing ball or with a pinwheel, or maybe they want to take deep breaths with our deep breath visual that every time they take a deep breath, they put on a Velcro number. There's lots of different options that the classrooms have in each space. Maybe they need a stuffy to snuggle. They want to do some yoga with their teachers. And then we hope that they'll re-enter that classroom space ready to go after they've had some time to calm down with the teacher to help them get there. These are just some examples of what students might be looking at or working on during our morning workbox time. All of our students come into the classroom at the beginning of the day. They find their name and they answer a question of the day that changes each time. So it's exciting to find out what that next question is going to be for our students. And then they choose a workbox. The small activities in the work boxes change each week so that the students are engaged and excited to find out more and find a new box. A lot of them are often theme based, so they'll change them out with each theme as well. And it could be an alphabet matching activity like you see here, or a science activity. The one on the left, they were looking at different rocks and minerals with magnifying glasses, and then they were writing down or drawing what they saw with the magnifying glasses. So either of these activities are just some examples of what you might see in the morning when you drop off. Here's some examples of some different dramatic plays that we've had in our classrooms before. The first one is a doctor's office. We have a bakery and then a farm and an ice skating rink with snowmen and igloo blocks. So the teachers are really fabulous at getting creative when it comes to dramatic play, and those will change or often build throughout the month. So a lot of times teachers will have the students help them build it, and it will continue to grow and change throughout the course of the month in the classroom. Here's some other examples of just some free time where the students are doing some building or some matching activities. There's also a measuring activity that the little girl is doing in the top right corner, an anchor chart that we used during December to talk about, it was what do you bite first when you eat a gingerbread man, but it also allowed us to talk about the different parts of the body, right versus left, which was a really fun activity. And then a science experiment mixing vinegar with baking soda inside of a pumpkin. So these are just some different classroom activities you might see in any of the spaces. And again, a writing center example of giving students the opportunity to try using fine motor skills with different types of materials. This was painting on Buddha boards. And then a sensory bin at the end of the year where the students were cleaning all the Legos in the sensory bin, which they love. And so we do that a couple of times a year, but we'll put different types of toys in there and they can wash them and clean them and build with them, kind of like a water table outside. And then some examples of some math and sensory activities we did as a whole group, making instant snow or classroom snow in January is always a big hit, and hiding and finding Arctic animals in them. So that's a whole class at circle time looking for Arctic animals in the snow they had just made. And then some different math activities where we're looking at base 10 and also Ready Set Racers, which is a huge one at all holidays in the math centers. Everybody loves Ready Set Race. It's a group game to see which one is going to come up the most. What's the probability of each little eraser guy coming up the most? So these are just some different classroom activities again. And then field trips and guest speakers are a huge part of MSP as well. We try and have a guest speaker or field trip once a month. It slowed down a little bit throughout COVID, but we're very thankful that it is picking up a little bit. This is an example of the fire truck coming to us and the Washington County Sheriff. And then at the top, it's our teachers at OMSI. We do a lot of different fun things. If we can walk to the fire station, we do. If the fire station's unavailable for us to walk, sometimes they'll bring the fire engine to us. That's an important one because they will get dressed in all the gear and show the kids what that looks like and sounds like in case they're ever in an emergency, and they don't have to be scared because it is a little scary when they have masks on. So I always think that's a fun one. The dentist and the postman are other great visitors we've had before, just trying to dispel some of that fear around going to the dentist for the first time or why the dentist is important. And then it's a great opportunity to learn about how the post office system works, having them visit, having waste management bring the trash truck and the falcons that protect Dumps around here are is number one visitor always. And then field trips we've taken have been to Trader Joe's. We've gone to the Children's Theater before. The pumpkin patch is a big one in October. So we try and get out or have people come to us as often as we can. And events is another part of our program. So we have an event once a month as well, and we alternate whether that's happening during class time or after class time. We do hold a holiday program every December with a raffle and holiday songs that the students sing. We have an art show in the spring. That's another really big one that is so much fun where the classes make art and then they come all dressed up with their family and friends and show them. It's kind of like a little gallery opening. You can see videos of that on our YouTube channel. It's very fun. And we have held trigathons for St. Jude's before, which was always a great time bringing our bikes to school and getting to ride them through the parking lot. Um, our Thanksgiving feast, where the whole school comes together to have Thanksgiving together. Kiss is a fun one. Kids invite someone special. We do that in the spring to celebrate Father's Day and Mother's Day. So there's always something happening around here that you can be a part of if that's something that interests you. How do we communicate with parents? This is a huge one. So we use an app called ProCare, and it is very important because that is your one-stop shop to everything MSP. The teachers will send a newsletter out every week. I will send an all school message or all school newsletter every month. And then you can direct message your teachers through ProCare at any time. So if you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, and pick up and drop off doesn't feel like the right time, you can message them. And then they will post pictures, videos, and a little snippet about how the day went every single day. So you always have a good window into what that classroom experience looks like. On ProCare is where you'll check your students in and out every day. So you'll have an app on your phone where you check your student in when you drop off and you sign them out when you pick up. And it has a geolocation barrier so that you can't do it unless you're on the property. And then that's where you'll keep your enrollment paperwork up to date with alternative pickup people, information about your student. You'll get that daily synopsis we were talking about from teachers. All the billing is available through there. You can see your classroom lesson plans, and it's also where you'll receive incident and accident reports. When we look towards building safety, ProCare is a big part of that. We do get questions about that often. Our building is always locked. So there is no moment when a door is unlocked at MSP. Staff will prop open doors for the 10 minutes during pickup and drop off. And they will stand at the doors while students are being picked up and dropped off until that window is closed. And then we close the doors again. And then we do have rings at all of our entrances so that not only is there a camera, but if a parent or someone needs to access the building during the school day, then they can ring the doorbell and a staff member can come out to assist them. So there's no one entering that space, even if it's a parent or guardian, while children are present. To be in the building, you do have to have a background check through Central Background Registry. This is huge for us. Safety is a high priority. It's not something that we cut corners on. So we always want to let parents know that we take it very seriously and no one is in these halls when students are present. We also have a code on the playground so that no one is entering or exiting the playground during the school day or even after the school day without knowing that code. We do give the code to parents so that they can access the playground after school together, but no one outside of our community has access to that space. Every time you pick up and drop off, you'll have to do so through ProCare. And then if there are any other parents or caregivers or guardians listed in the app, then everyone will get a notification when you sign someone in and out. So if you sign out your student at 12:05, then your partner or other caregiver will get a notification on their phone saying, mom signed Josephine out at 2:05 p.m. So we want to make sure everyone always knows where their students are at all times. If they are signed up for the afternoon class, then when the teachers transfer them into lunch or transfer them into their afternoon class with their new teachers, then you'll get a notification for that as well. We are a school year program, so we are open September through May for our general school year. We do offer 2 conferences a year, one in the fall and one in the spring, and then a winter and spring break. We do try and align with Beaverton and Hillsborough school districts to the best of our ability, although sometimes it can be tricky. So we'll often try and split the difference, where if we align with Beaverton conferences in the fall, maybe we'll align with Hillsborough in the spring. That's usually the only thing that doesn't fall on the same days. And then we have summer programming that's a little bit different than our school year programming. So we do have Summer Sprouts in June. It's for current MSP students only, and it's just an extension of our school year, where we do add an outdoor classroom space. So students are doing center time outside, which is really fun, weather permitting. And we just focus in on some outdoor topics just as a current school. And then starting in July, we do offer summer camp, which is open to anyone in the community who has a 3 to 6-year-old. So that can be an MSP student or non-student. And we offer that for 3 weeks in July and 3 weeks in August. And then we have what we call our preschool prep. So that's for current pre-3 students or siblings of MSP students who are going to be joining us for preschool. It can also be newly enrolled preschool students between the ages of 2 and 3 that want a little bit more time to get ready to come to school. It's a shorter time, so our regular camps are 9 to noon. This one is 9 to 11:30, with an optional parent and me or caregiver and me playtime in the gym until all of our camps are out, so from 11:30 to 12. And it's in one of our preschool classrooms to just help students get used to that longer day, bigger class size, with a actual preschool environment versus the pre-threes space. So if you're thinking of registering for next year, you can find all of our registration forms on our website. Under classes, there's the general registration form and our early intervention form, as well as summer camps. All of our information for summer, we do still have some spots for 2025 are available under summer fun on our website, and we would love to see as many of you as we can in the fall and over the summer as well. And if you have any questions after seeing this presentation, or you would like a tour of our program, feel free to give our office a call, 503-645-9248, and we can get you scheduled for a tour or answer any questions you might have, or you can email mustardseedpreschool@gmail.com, and we would love to help you get acclimated at our school. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see all of our little mustard seeds this September.